Hi everyone, it's Rena, and today's project is a 4.5 by 6-inch mini album or photo folio. There are tons of places for you to journal, to add your pictures and your memories, and it folds up very nicely, and you can close it with a ribbon or magnets, completely up to you. I hope that you'll try this project, so let's get started. This is the project that we're going to be making today. It is a 4.5 by 6-inch mini album, and mine has a ribbon closure, so I just open it up like this, and I added a little snowflake right here. And you just open this side up, and then right here you have a wallet style booklet, and it does open up on both sides. So there's tons of places for you to add photos or little journaling. There is a little pocket on this side, and I just added some tags in there. And then on this side, you open it up again, and then you have a little waterfall section right here. So even more places for you to add photos or journaling spots. And then there's an additional pocket right here on this side, and so then it closes up just like this. And this mini was a request by Karen, who's in my VIP Facebook group, and she saw this mini that was made by Algania Scrap, and so I will link that tutorial below. There will be a second part for this video, which will be the box that you can actually stick this mini in. I also created an additional mini that will be another tutorial, and it is a much larger version. Now this mini I actually have not decorated at all just yet, and I made it very similarly to the other smaller mini, except it's larger. I did start adding some little journaling spots. This pocket over here, I created the way I normally create my pocket, so that there's lots of room in here to add lots of tags. This one also has the same wallet pull out on both sides. And then it also has the waterfall section. It just has some additional little waterfall pieces. And then it has an additional section. It has an additional pocket right here, where I've added a tag. And then it has this piece right here where I've added a really large tag, but it folds up exactly the same way. So this will be an additional tutorial that I'll be making probably sometime next week, which will be the larger version of this mini. Today we're going to be making this mini, which will be the first part of this tutorial, and then the second part will be the box that this mini goes in. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start making our mini album, and you need a couple of different pieces of cardstock for your base. You need 2 pieces that are cut at 6 by 11 5/8, 2 pieces that are cut at 6 by 12, and then you need 5 pieces that are cut at 4.5 by 4, and this is for your waterfall. The first thing that I want you to do is I want you to tape together your 6 by 11 5/8 pieces and your 6 by 12 inch pieces. And you're going to need to use score tape for that. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to use a 1/4 inch of this score tape, and I'm just going to do 2 lines of score tape on here. So 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch, that's going to be 1/2 inch. So if you have the 1/2 inch score tape, that will work well. If you only have the 1/4 inch like I do, then make sure that you add 2 strips. Now if you add more than 1/2 inch, it could change your score marks when we assemble the album, so make sure that you're only doing 1/2 inch. Okay, and go ahead and do that on 1 piece of 11 5/8, 6 by 11 5/8, and 1 piece of the 6 by 12. And you want to get it as close as possible to just being a 1/2 inch. If it goes over a tiny bit, you should still be fine, but as close as you can possibly get it if you're using the 2 pieces of tape like I am. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to burnish your tape, and then you're going to make sure that you have the right pieces together. You're going to take this piece right here without the tape, and you're just going to adhere it right here on top of your tape. And you're going to do that for both of the pieces that you just did. So you're going to adhere your 6 by 12 pieces, and you're going to adhere your 6 by 11 and 5/8. So again, burnish your score tape, then peel off your backing, and then you're just going to add your second piece right on top so that it can make one long piece. So go ahead and do that, and then we will move on to our next step. Okay, so now you should have 2 pieces that look like this. You have this one that is your 6 by 11 and 5/8 pieces put together, and this one that's your 6 by 12. And the way you can tell the difference is that your 6 by 12 piece is going to be a little bit longer. So if you are worried about maybe that you mix them up, the one that's longer is the one that's your 6 by 12 piece. So the 6 by 12 piece is actually going to be the inside booklet that we make in our mini. So we're going to put this piece aside for right now, and we're going to work with this piece that is our 2 pieces of 6 by 11 and 5/8. And we're going to start by scoring these. So you'll need to get your scoring tool out. Your scoreboard and your scoring tool. And you're going to line up one side. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start by scoring at 1.5 inches. Then you're going to score at 4.5 inches. Then you're going to score at 5, 9.5, and 10. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to fold on our score line so then we can finish scoring the rest. So go ahead and just start by gently folding on your score lines. You don't have to worry about burnishing them just yet. We're just trying to fold down so that we can score the rest of the project. Okay, so now what I want you to do is this very last score line that we made, you'll see your seam right here. Make sure you don't confuse it. But this very last score line that we just made, this is the one you're going to line up at the 0 mark so that we can continue to score. Again, make sure it's the last score line we just did and not the seam. You don't want your seam, you don't want to have accidentally burnished or folded on your seam and then put that at the 0. You want to make sure it's that very last score line. And so once you do that, now what we're going to score at is 4 1/4. And then you're going to score at 4.5, 8.5, and your last score is going to be 10. Okay, so now we're going to put our scoring board away for a few minutes, and we're going to go ahead and fold on all of our score lines again. Okay, so now that you've scored on all your score lines, this last little piece right here, we're actually going to be cutting this off. So this, you have this section right here. You're going to cut off this last section. So this was the 10-inch score line that we did at the very end. So just take your scoreboard and just trim off that last piece because we're actually not going to be using that. You could definitely save that piece if you decide you want to add a pocket, or if you want to use it to create some kind of a flap. You could definitely do that. If not, you could save it for a different project because it is a nice little size, but we're not going to use it in our project today. Okay, so now we actually have our little booklet created. This is going to create the pocket on the back side. This creates the pocket on the front side. And the way it works is you would fold this piece over, then you would fold this section over, and then you would fold it closed like this. And there's your little booklet. You would glue down these pieces to create your pocket here, and then to create your pocket here. I don't recommend you doing it just yet, unless you're using patterned paper for your card base. You want to wait until you mat your booklet or your mini before you go ahead and adhere those down. Now normally I don't like to make pockets like this where you just add glue here and close them, because I feel like you can't add a ton of things in there like tags and different things like that. But this one, that's what we're gonna do. And then the second mini that I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna actually create the pockets the way I normally create the pockets. So your mini album shell is now pretty much complete. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create the insert that goes on the inside and the waterfall. So you can put this booklet aside, and now you're going to take your 6x12, your two pieces that you adhered together that were 6x12, and we're going to go ahead and score these. So this one, we're going to do it just a little differently than we did the last one. The last one we scored all the way across and then we folded it, but this one we're going to score at 4 1/4, and then we're going to fold and move up our paper every time. So you're going to score at 4 1/4, fold, and then move that score line right up to the 0, score again at 4 1/4, again fold, and move that one right up to your 0 mark, score again at 4 1/4, fold, and move that mark, that last score line up to your 0 point, score again at 4 1/4, fold, and you don't have to make sure these are perfect folds just yet. You want them to be as symmetrical as possible, but you're going to burnish right now when we finish. So now you're going to make your last score line at 4 1/4. Okay, and so now we're done with our scoring board for right now. So you have one piece. All of these are the same size except this last little piece. This is the piece that you're going to adhere to your booklet. So now you're just going to mountain and valley fold your booklet. So this is my valley. Then I'm going to fold over, and I'm going to do a mountain, and I'm going to burnish. Then I'm going to go back over and do a valley, and then I'm going to go back again and do a mountain fold. And then this last fold, I'm just going to fold up. So now I have my little booklet. So I'll be able to add pictures or journaling spots or whatever kind of memories I want to add to each side. So then what I want you to do is I want you to add score tape all along this side, and you're going to take your booklet and you're going to adhere it right here to this first section. So remember, this is your pocket that you're going to glue down. So this very first section is where you're going to add your booklet. You're just going to add your score tape right here, and then you're going to stick it right here in the center. So let's go ahead and add score tape and stick it right here in the center. Okay, so I added my score tape to my flap, and I wanted you to see how much score tape I added. Because this is a piece that's going to adhere right here, I wanted to make sure I added enough score tape so that it wouldn't move and that it would fit, not that it would fit, but that it would hold nicely right here in this little section. So now we're going to go ahead and remove all of our score tape backing, and we're just going to center this right in the middle. And remember, I only added score tape to this little flap right here. So just remove your score tape backing. And now you're going to center this right in the center right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, but I can't really see with the camera on, so I'm going to go ahead and add this, and I shall be right back. Okay, so now I've added my center booklet, and here it is right here. And so you see all of this extra space it gives you for pictures, and you can add little white spots for journaling, however you'd like to decorate this. And so your little album will just close just like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add our waterfall right here. And so you already have your waterfall pieces cut, so we just need to score them. So these are 4.5 by 4, and we're going to score them on the 4.5 inch side at 4. And that'll create our little flap so that we can add, oops, the waterfall. So on all 5 of these, on the 4.5 inch side, score them at 4. So this is going to make your waterfall pieces exactly 4 by 4 when you adhere them. And so when you're getting ready to mat them, if you're going down by a 1/4 of an inch, which the directions will have that size, it'll be 3.25 by 3.25 when you add the matting. So now you're just going to fold back your flap, burnish down your score line, and you're going to do that on all 5 of these. Okay, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to add score tape to the back of the flap on all 5 of them. And then once you add your score tape, you're going to want to make sure that you burnish down your score tape, and then we will add them to our little mini album. Okay, so now we're going to burnish down our score tape on each one of these. And now we're going to go ahead and add them to our mini. So you already have your section right here that we added already. And now you have this section right in here in between score marks. You have your seam right here down the middle, which is completely fine, but you have a score line right here and a score line right here. You're going to add your waterfall right here in the center. So what you're going to do is you'll take off your score tape and you're going to line this one up right in the middle as close to the top as possible. And then once you have that one done, you'll see you have this seam right here. That is where you're going to add your next piece for your waterfall. And you're going to want to get as closely lined up as possible so that your waterfall goes down as straight as you can possibly get it. So let's start by taking off the backing on this one and go ahead and adhere it as close to the top but center, and then we'll go ahead and do the next one. Okay, so now I've added this one. Now we're just going to keep adding them all the way down. So this next one's going to go right underneath it, and then after you've adhered that one, you'll do the next one, then the next one, and finally the fifth one. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now I have adhered my little waterfall, and now your booklet is, your little mini is done. All you have to do now is mat it and embellish it. So let's talk about magnets. So you could add, and I didn't add magnets on mine, but you definitely could add magnets. If you wanted to add a magnet here at the bottom, then I would add another magnet somewhere here in the middle, and then a third magnet so that this could stay closed. You could definitely add a magnet here if you wanted to for this one to stay closed. It's completely up to you. One of my books is closed with a ribbon. So if you're going to do a ribbon closure, you can either add it before you mat, or you can add it after you mat. It's completely up to you. But basically now your mini is done, and all you have to do is decorate.